Where do you go to think? Where do you go to think? Like, what place do you go when you need to clear your head, but like clear your head without being disturbed, without being influenced by your surroundings, by the noises that you hear? When I started therapy, my therapist got me on meditating. He was like really big on meditating. And I had tried meditating before because that's the thing that everybody says you need to do when you're stressed, when you're depressed, when you're sad, when you're lonely, when you're scared, when you're having trouble breathing. They'll say, hey, you need to learn how to meditate. Then it became, meditation was more about controlling your breathing. Breathing was important. So then I tried it on my own. I think the perception with meditation is you think that when you're meditating, you can't see, hear anything. Like you're just in this quiet vacuum and you're having peace. I don't know who started that rumor, but that's not it. So I tried to find places to meditate. This guy just ran a stop sign. I just watched this guy in a residential area run a stop sign. Like he didn't even bother to pretend that it was a red stop sign. He just kept going. So where do you go to be quiet? I've gone to the desert. I go to the grocery store in the middle of the night and walk around. For some reason, I feel more alone in public sometimes. Not all the time, but a lot of times I feel alone in public. So I'll go in public to be left alone. And then something will happen that will make me say, I need to get back in the house because this is why I don't come outside. I'll see something that'll make me say, I need to go inside. It's too much. I try to meditate before I go to sleep. I end up falling asleep. The one time that I don't want to fall asleep is when I try to meditate and I'll fall asleep. Or you try to manifest. You try to think about what you want to manifest and then you fall asleep. It's kind of like when you're praying before you go to bed. If you pray before you go to bed and then you end up going to sleep because you close your eyes, you get quiet. Where do you go to be quiet? I got a friend. He likes to sit in his car when it's raining. He's like, that's the most peaceful thing in the world. Sit in the car, raining outside, some music playing. You can hear the water banging on the roof, on the hood, on the window pane. You almost feel like you're trapped. I get it though, like you're trapped, but you could get out. You stay inside if you want to stay dry. But if you really need to get out, what's getting wet going to do, right? But it's kind of like it forces you to say, let me just stay inside until it calms down. I'll just lay here and go to sleep. I've done it many times, but I got a buddy who likes to go and sit in his car when it rains. He could be at home. He'll go sit in the car. I'll do that too. It doesn't have to be raining, but I'll just sit in the car. A lot of people do that. You just sit in the car, don't go anywhere. Just go in the car to be alone. I try to do it in nature. I thought there's an area in my neighborhood. It's not even a park. It's just 3 park benches. One right here that I'm sitting on. and then these two off to the side of me. Nobody comes here. When I say nobody comes here, nobody hardly comes here. And the day that I decide to come here, people come. So it's like, is it not meant for me to be alone, to be able to think about what I want to figure out? Or am I supposed to fight for that too? Like, are you supposed to fight for the peace that you... Do you have to fight for peace to have peace? Am I asking the wrong question? Like, I'm trying to quiet my mind so I can figure out how to fix my life so I can quiet my life. But I can't find any place quiet enough for me to be able to gather my thoughts. Then it could be the fact that no matter where I go, it's always going to sound loud because it's always loud in my head. Where do you go to be quiet? I'm asking a general question, like a serious question, like not a general question, but a serious question of like, where do you go to be quiet? Do you have a basement? Do you have a backyard that you can go sit in? Do you have a park you can go to? Do you do it in a supply closet at your job? And then when I meditate, I just end up thinking about my life. I think about what I want. I think about what I don't want. I think about what I wish didn't happen. I think about what I wish I could change. Think about what I wish I could fix. I think about what I wish I could not give a fuck about. I meditate to try to figure out how to not give a fuck about things that people think about me that really don't matter and shouldn't matter and don't matter, without telling myself you are a piece of shit because you're not caring about what people think about this thing that you did, or how you feel about this, or how you refuse to do that. That's important. I think about my career. I think about the things that I have said in the past, and if I meant those things. I think about the things I have said in the past, and I think about where I am now in my life, and I ask myself, do I still believe in those things? And if I knew what I know now, would I still have said those things? Like I call out Puff Daddy in 2008, 2009. I just didn't like the way he moved. I had no physical evidence. I didn't go, TMZing and pulling up documents and court cases and interviewing people. I just looked at what I saw happening. I looked at the details that were in broad daylight and put together an assumption case about him to the point it rattled his nerves for him to make a response. And I think that's a bad move on his end because we don't know each other. He didn't know me. I didn't know him personally. He didn't know of me until I got on his radar and he responded. So then it makes you wonder when people say stuff like, you can't be king or you can't be a person in power if you don't have control over your feelings. But he didn't have control over his feelings because he made a video blog. He went out and enlisted the help of not funny comedians at all to help him try to come at me. Comedians whose lunch I would eat, probably wouldn't even eat because I'd be like, that's not enough for me to eat. But he went out and got comedians to help him come after me. And just like his attempt and the comics attempts, they were trash. But fast forward 2023, these allegations come out about him, about things we already knew. Then it makes me meditate. Do we not care about if someone is right or wrong? It's just how much money do they have? How much power do they have? How much influence do they have? You ever watch Watchtower? I mean, not Watchtower. Watchmen. At the end of Watchmen, the good guys find out that one of the good guys is the bad guy, but what the bad guy / good guy has done, if they expose him, it fucks up everybody's belief in superheroes. It discredits everything they've done. It makes people feel bad about what they supported. So a lot of times I feel like people don't want to acknowledge something that's happened if it's going to make them feel like they don't know how to read or trust or judge something because they got duped by the person that's being brought down. I hope that made sense. It's kind of like when you find out your religion is bogus, but you don't want to look bad that you believed in something that wasn't real. So you tell yourself, no, I'm going to stand behind this and say it's real so I don't look stupid. I think that's what happened with celebrities. And I just come out here and meditate and I think about, why do we allow so much to slide under the cracks? In the cracks? Why do we overlook so much? Then it's like, why do you care? But then it's like, if I just focus on me, how do I avoid having to be bothered with the things that I'm ignoring because I'm so focused on me? If these things would be a problem, could be a problem, become a problem, are a problem. I try to meditate when I get angry. Can't listen to Eminem after you've had an argument with your child's mother. That's not going to calm you down. It's going to give you ideas, but it's not going to calm you down. So you got to listen to water running and birds chirping and sound baths and whales masturbating to gain quiet and clarity and peace. Where do you go to meditate? Where do you go to be quiet? Where do you go to hear yourself? Because I live by myself and I still can't be quiet with myself, partly because I don't like where I live. And that's not me being ungrateful. That's just me realizing that I'm worth way more than where I am. So it's hard for me to just sit in a situation where I'm aware that I'm better than my current situation. And I try to go somewhere to get my brain quiet so I can figure out how to get out of my current situation so I can feel good all the time. Or at least give myself a shot at the possibility of feeling good most of the time. A good portion. 60-40. You can't ask for more than that. It's just selfish to say I want 100% happiness all the time. Where do you go to listen to yourself? Is it even important to yourself to listen to yourself? Do you even think about it? Do you ever think about meditating? Do you ever think about just being quiet? Do you ever ask yourself if the location that you put in your GPS of life is the direction you still want to go in? Some people tell themselves, I want to do this. Even if they don't want to do it anymore, they don't know how to reroute, recalculate themselves to go try to do something else different because they're just so fixated on either if they change their mind, it's giving up, or they don't know how to change their mind. They're scared to change their mind. They don't know what they want to do because they've been doing this thing that they didn't want to do the entire time, but they didn't know what else to do, so they had they had to do something, so they did that. I come outside to think about what I'm going to write when I go inside. Really working on this book, really working on this blog. It's been difficult because at the core, if I can be honest, and I know I probably sound like a broken record, I wake up every day no bullshit. I wake up every day trying to figure out a way to make people care about a black man that's been traumatized, that's been through something, that doesn't feel equal, respected, understood, appreciated. And then I have days where I ask myself, you're only here for a limited time. Why even bother? Just get through this life, and then maybe there's something better on the other side. If I could find some peace to where I could just sit down and think that through, and whatever decision I come up with, be quiet just a little bit longer so I could just say, I'm cool with this. I accept whatever that is. But I can't get there. I can't get there. You notice sometimes when I do this podcast, I talk really fast because I'm trying to get the content, I'm trying to get the ideas, the thoughts out. Then there's moments where I'll just be quiet because I'll be thinking, if I'm wasting your time by putting something out, do you care about what I'm putting out? What is it doing for you? What is it worth to you? Is it worth it enough to like support it? Is it worth it enough to just listen to it? Is it worth it enough to say, yo, share this, I like this? I try to be like the ASMR of thought, where we just listen to each other to see if the things that we're saying are similar. That way you don't feel alone. I think that's what a lot of people want to do. They just want to find out if other people think like they do so they won't be alone. It's when people think that the way that they think is the way that everybody should think and try to force that on everybody. That's the problem. So a lot of times when I'm talking, it's because I'm excited. I'm like, oh, let me get this out of my head. I'm thinking about this right here, or I'm trying to find the funny in something. Then there's moments where I'm doing it and I'm like, should I be doing this? It's like when you have sex with somebody that you're like, do I really want to be doing this? Even though you're already in the middle of it, but you're like, is this bringing me any value? I think people would be shocked if they thought if they knew men had those type of thoughts. Because I've had sex with somebody, and in the midst of it, I'll ask myself, what is this doing for me? Then I'll ask myself, is this the best I can do? Holy shit. That's a terrifying, uncomfortable thought. You're having sex with somebody and then you ask yourself in the midst of it, am I settling for this, or is this the best I can do? And then you got to ask yourself if you are okay with what is the best that you can do. men have the thoughts because men are human. Women having these thoughts is expected. But for a man to have it, it's like, what? Men have these thoughts. But there's also men that'll say, it don't matter if this is the best I can do. I need to get off, or I want to have sex, or it is what it is. Where do you go to think? I'm going to sincerely ask people to reply, to correspond, to engage, to talk. Where do you go to think? Where do you go to unravel the Christmas lights in your head? Are we thinking about the same things? You know, you could just vomit draft to me at jktpodcast@gmail.com. All the things you think about, and then like I can read it out loud, and then we can discuss it. Just a suggestion. Just trying to feed the algorithm. Also trying to put out quality content. Nobody stops at stop signs. Nobody. You know who's really a piece of shit person? Tesla drivers. They think because they plug their cars in like phones, they're better than other people. It's the most not. It used to be Prius people. Prius people are so tolerable now. Tesla people, oh my God, it's like you drive cars that take gas. Ugh. How Neanderthal are you? It's like I want to pull you out of your car and push a button and make it go into a wall. Email me, share, engage. I'm working on a book, people. The blog is called EAT, which stands for Emotionally Available Today. I have to take all this stuff that I create and write it out for the blog, and it'll turn into something else. It's a process, but I got to stay on top of this so you'll know that I'm working, because evidently if I'm not putting out stuff, I'm dead to you. I don't know. Anyway, I came here to try to be alone, and it did not work at all. I'll keep trying. I'll see you next week.